Ahead of the reopening of learning institutions, at least the phased reopening since starting October, that is. And we also have Ruth Sarmwe, a lot of drama in Nakuru as the public transport stakeholders, matatu operators have been trying to force their way into the CBD of Nakuru, and that put them at loggerheads with the police then. We'll be getting the details from there. Seth Olale starts us off. A lot of attention will be there, not on you, but on what will be said. And I'm sure you've been following what's been going on since early morning, Seth.
Well, indeed, it is just minutes away before the head of state makes his grand entry into the Kenyatta International Conference Center. According to the program, each and every participant of this historic COVID-19 assessment conference is supposed to have been seated by at least 10 minutes to 2 p.m. Who else is expected here at the KICC? We're talking about the Deputy President, William Ruto, head of opposition, the opposition leader, Raila Odinga, among other high-profile guests that have been invited to this historical conference that is aimed at assessing the status of the COVID-19 restrictions in terms of containing the pandemic. What we know that this program is supposed to end at about 6 p.m., where it will be followed by the State of the Nation address, addressed by none other than the head of state, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta. Also, we're going to have a panel discussion. We're going to have representatives from the Council of Governors. We're going to have representatives from the cabinet representing the ministers. We're talking about the likes of Fred Matiang'i, Integra CS, as well as the Health CS, Mutahi Kagwe, just to explain to the head of state and Kenyans at large of where are we so far, 6 months into the pandemic. Are we good to open up the country? But all indications, all expectations from various stakeholders who we were able to interact with earlier on, they're saying that they expect the organized reopening of the country, and the basis being reopening of the economy. Remember that it has been 6 months since the first case was reported and since measures were introduced, and stakeholders are expecting that some of these measures, that some of these restrictions that include the curfew, some of them will be eased. We're talking about also issues to do with restrictions in social distancing or social gatherings where social distancing has been enforced. And so these are some of the key areas that the President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to really have a keen interest on and address the nation on the way forward. Remember that on this day, all teachers were directed to report to school. That way, giving way to the calculated or well-organized reopening, first reopening also of schools in the country that have been shut since mid-March this year. Also expected is apart from the governors and the cabinet secretaries that have been invited for this particular event, also expect security experts also just to give their recommendations and their assessment of how the country has been able to move during the 6 months of COVID-19 containment. So what's happening behind me right now, we have actually everyone who is entering the KICC main hall is thoroughly being scrutinized there. You have to have a special invite for you to be able to be part of this particular meeting that is expected to start officially at 2 p.m. And like I said, the head of state will be in person here opening this particular conference. Remember that it is the 12th COVID-19 national assessment address to the nation by the head of state, Uhuru Kenyatta, and it's all systems go according to organizers here. And so the climax, of course, will be at around 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. when President Uhuru Kenyatta will formally address the nation and announce on whether the restrictions that were put in place to contain the pandemic are going to be eased or they're going to be extended. But there is speculation, there is expectation that it's about time the head of state ease some of this restriction in order for the economy to go back to where it was before COVID-19 struck the country in mid-March. Back to you in studio. And of course, I'll be here to give you all the highlights as to what happens inside the KICC ballroom. Back to you in studio.
Etolale, thank you for that update. A lot of anticipation, and we'll be there live throughout the afternoon.